Hello, willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. I've been watching some to cabaret. Eddie Redmayne doing cabaret. Willkommen, willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. Oh, I'm just not into it. I'm sorry, Eddie. I'm not into it. Is this microphone working? Yeah, it's working. All right, just checking the waveform there. Okay. Welcome to a real call. I'm going to stop. To Fred Asquith on film, aka FOF. We are going to be discussing today The Naked Gun, Happy Gilmore 2, and Weapons. And then I'm going to finish off by reading through some hate comments that I got on my Superman review. At Fred Asquith on film on TikTok and Instagram. I'm really enjoying posting the reels. I'm really enjoying seeing the interactions. We're a burgeoning community, and we're an active community, and I really like that. I'm really liking all the messages I'm getting, kind words. Maybe you're all being nice to me, but either way, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to do this anyway. So I'm just going to dive right into it. I'm really excited for this episode, and I've always vowed to you guys, I will never go over an hour. I just think it's insane for podcasts to be over an hour when you could actually go watch a film. So here we go. Diving straight into it. First off, I just want to say I saw a trailer for a documentary called Megadoc, which is a documentary. Let me just turn my backup mic on. Hold on, just in case. I never want to lose this audio. There we go. Called Megadoc, and Megadoc is a documentary about the making of the movie Megalopolis. So it's a documentary about Francis Ford Coppola making that movie on set, and that to me is that's like crack to me, right? Because Megalopolis is the worst movie ever made. And that's a full stop at the end of that sentence. So that's Megalopolis is capital T, the worst movie ever made, full stop. There's no caveats to that. There's no conditions to that. I don't care if you want to tell me about Battlefield. What's the fucking one that John Travolta's in? Is it Battlefield Earth? Yeah. I don't care if you want to talk to me about like Gremlins 9 or whatever. Super Baby. People always come with like genuinely terrible films, incompetently made films. Megalopolis is not only incompetently made, but it was made by one of the greatest living directors of all time with an all-star cast. I have made a TikTok about it. It got millions of views of people. I don't know if they're agreeing with me or if they hated me for that. But the point is that it's certainly a conversation to be had. I'm having it. I've had it. I've made my decision. It's the worst film ever made. And go watch that trailer. I just want you to know that that's probably the most anticipated movie of my year so far. Now I've seen Weapons. Megadoc. I can't wait to watch Francis Ford Coppola gaslight himself into thinking that Megalopolis was a good fucking idea. Welcome to Fred Asquith on Film. So I'm going to review 3 films today, like I say, Naked Gun, Happy Gilmore 2, and Weapons. But they're going to be with increasing length of review. Or at least increase in detail, right? I'm trying not to be too arduous in my length. Meaning that my Naked Gun review, I'm going to try and keep quite snippy. Happy Gilmore 2 a bit longer, and then Weapons, I'm going to go real in depth, and for good reason. Naked Gun, I said I'd never see Naked Gun. You guys who listen regularly will know that I literally said I will not go and see The Naked Gun. But that was with the assumption that it was going to be fucking trash, based on a trailer that was absolute fucking trash, right? I'm a bit sweary today, aren't I? Anyway, lo and behold, all these good reviews start coming out, and I start having trusted friends. Anyone who's a long time listener to this feed will know that I used to write a screenplay on this feed with my mate Ian. I'm still writing that screenplay, by the way. We're 70 pages in, absolutely buzzing. We'll report back when we're done. Ian went to see The Naked Gun and was like, it's actually good. And we were sat in M&S Cafe and I'm talking about this screenplay. And I was like, hold on. Would I like it though? And he said, yeah, I think you might do. I think it is actually good. Like, I was laughing my head off. And I was like, fuck. So I booked a ticket same day. After I saw him, I went to see it. And it's funny, mate. I can't believe I'm saying it, but it was funny. I laughed outwardly, like a good laugh, not just like but like a good laugh, 6 times, maybe 7. The moment I laughed at most, if you haven't seen it, obviously, just if you haven't seen these films, just don't listen to these reviews. I put timestamps in my descriptions on all platforms, so just skip forward. I'm not having the fucking spoiler winos, right? I'm going to spoil every film that I review. There, I said it, right? But the most I laughed was literally at the start, actually, during the bank robbery, when Liam Neeson uses another police officer as a human shield against loads of bullets. and then throws the human shield towards the people shooting at him, and they continue shooting at the human shield and not him. And then the body lands in the middle of all these people shooting, and they all just shoot each other. I was like, that's so dumb. It's so dumb. I can't believe I had a smile on my face from about 3 minutes in. I was like, is this gonna get me? Anyway, it didn't quite get me. There is a joke every fucking 3 seconds in this film, and I laughed outwardly 6 times. So, as hit rates go, it's actually not quite enough, but I do appreciate the hustle, and I really appreciate comedy in cinemas, that was the tipping point which made me go see it. I was like, right, do I want to support cinema or not? Yes. Do I want to support comedy in cinema? Absolutely yes. I'm writing a comedy right now. I want comedy to be a viable genre at the box office. So go and fucking support it. So I did. And I didn't have it wasn't a waste of time, but I'm certainly not as hot on it as everyone else seems to be. Everyone's treating it like the second coming, like, oh my God, we've got a comedy in the cinema and look how funny it is. Point A, really happy we've got a comedy in the cinema. Point B, yeah, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. I think if you brought this out, hypothetically, during the golden age of spoof comedies, Airplane and the original Naked Gun and whatnot, and I don't know, not a spoof really, but you could probably put, what's it fucking called? I was going to say Lethal Weapon then. What the fuck is the Eddie Murphy one? What the fuck is the Eddie Murphy cop comedy? Oh my God, I hate it when I do this on the podcast because I know you're all giving me the answer. Beverly Hills Cop, for fuck's sake. If you brought it out during that golden era, it would pale in comparison to all of them, really. In terms of hit rate of the gags. Not in terms of frequency of the gags, but hit rate of the gags that are therein. But I'm happy that it exists. Like, well done, congrats. It doesn't mean I fucking hate it. It just means, like, we've got a long way to go to scale back the lofty heights of where comedy once was. And it fell into a kind of a hole that a lot of comedies fall into for me, which is that once it gets plotty, it loses the comedic effect for me. I had this chat when I reviewed Friendship. It's a few weeks back. It's sort of like this comedy fatigue phenomenon where it's like the first 60 minutes, every joke is a new joke, every joke is a setup, and every character is new. When you get to the last 30 minutes, because this is mercifully 85 minutes, mercifully, not as in it was awful, but you get what I'm saying. Once you get to the last act, a lot of jokes are callbacks, a lot of characters, you've got used to their quirks, a lot of things don't feel fresh and new. And there's just something about comedy films that, even the best, like even Anchorman towards the end loses steam. Even Life of Brian towards the end loses steam. I personally think Life of Brian is the best comedy ever made. And yet, like, the final act of Life of Brian is nowhere near as good as the first act of Life of Brian. There's a fatigue baked into the format of a feature-length comedy, in my opinion, that you just have to go with. I think in this case, what really turns me off about that fatigue, about that phenomenon, though, is when it gets plotty. I don't mind the comedy vibes just generally running out of steam. Life of Brian being the best example. It's not getting wrapped up in plot. It's just like, we're getting towards the end, and you can even almost feel them just like narratively or on that island where they wrote it, just kind of like running out of steam a little bit, and that's fine. That does happen here, but we also get wrapped up in plot, where it gets a bit like action movie-y, and we have to kind of wrap this thing up and wrap that thing up. And even though they've made a joke about the MacGuffin being called the plot device, it still is kind of hypocritical in the sense that like it's trying to wrap plot up. I'd rather it just be plotless, to be honest, and you kind of lose the comedy in and amongst all that. For a kind of big budget, would you say, or for a studio comedy, I thought it looked quite nice. The cinematography was nice. It felt cinematic actually, and not like corporate televisual slop. Which leads me on to Happy Gilmore 2. So just to wrap that up, I give Naked Gun... I actually haven't reviewed this on Letterboxd yet. I feel like I'd give Naked Gun, like, if I was recommending it generally, if I was writing in a magazine and I was like trying to objectively say, do I think the Naked Gun's decent? Yes, I'd probably give it like a 4 out of 5 and I'd try and encourage people to go see this film. Personally... In the pantheon of comedy and like, you know, let's be properly subjective about this. Like, do I really, really, really love this film? I don't think I do. I gave Friendship, I think, 3 stars a couple of weeks ago. I'd probably give this like 2.5. Just like, you know, I enjoyed it. And I've had some blowback? I've had some pushback about my star ratings recently. People saying I'm too critical with star ratings. Bro, I don't just hand out stars willy-nilly. If I give 5 stars for something, it's 5 fucking stars. It's fucking Godfather, Shawshank, There'll Be Blood. It's fucking Alien. You know, it's 5 fucking stars. If I give 2.5 stars for something, that doesn't mean I hated it. It really doesn't. 2.5 stars, 5 out of 10 is like it's nearly 6 out of 10. You know, it's like 6 out of 10 is universally known to be a recommendation. 3 out of 5, 6 out of 10, that's a recommendation. You know, go see this film, it's worth your time. So 2.5 out of 5, people are so binary about this shit. They act as if like half a star drop means that you fucking hated this film. Nah. There's it's not black and white, right? There's a whole grey scale of dislike and a grey scale of like. And so I could feasibly say that I love a film that I gave like 7 out of 10. Like, and that, look, come at me. If you think that's ridiculous, then fine. But I don't like to watch or consume art on a binary level. Like, people were getting at me because I said Fantastic Four won the summer, and then I gave it 3 out of 5. Yeah, that's a subjective rating. Like, objectively, I'd probably give it 4 for a superhero movie. But like, subjectively, I've got to be honest about these things. Like, it doesn't mean I hated it. Just because you like something doesn't mean you have to give it 5. Which is why this weapons review is going to be very significant. It's a significant moment, but we'll come on to that. So yeah, anyway, Naked Gun looked quite nice. Not corporate televisual slop, which leads me on to Happy Gilmore 2. I actually don't want to waste my time or your time spending too much time on going through this absolute abomination of a film. I actually think I'm so happy the Naked Gun came out so close to Happy Gilmore 2, because I was hearing all this. Basically, this film is atrocious. This film is atrocious. And for any fans of the original Happy Gilmore, if you think this film is anything but atrocious, you should be ashamed of yourself, right? Naked Gun came out at the same time as this and really put in perspective all the bullshit takes on Happy Gilmore 2. Because I was reading on threads, I was doom scrolling threads and Reddit, and people saying, oh, well, if a comedy makes you laugh, then it's done its job. And, oh, well, why are you expecting too much from a comedy? All it should do is make you laugh. Why are you going in there expecting The Godfather? You should just go in expecting a few silly laughs. No, I do. That's what I'm doing. You didn't make me laugh. It didn't make me laugh. People say that criticism of comedy criticism as if you're like sat there like stony faced, like, oh, this is quite funny, but I refuse to laugh because I have standards. No. Make me fucking laugh. And this is what the Naked Gun has proven to us. Just because something's silly doesn't mean it's bad. In fact, the complete opposite. Give me silly, right? Happy Gilmore 2, I don't like because it's bad. It fucking sucks. And let me go into why quickly, and I don't want to waste too much time, like I say. Every time they showed a clip of the original, I wished I was watching it. They showed many clips of the original. I wished I was watching the original. It was a highlights reel of the original. It's barely a film. It's a YouTube compilation of the original. It's an SNL sketch extension of the original. It's almost like a Red Nose Day when they did Love Actually again. It's almost like that. It's like, let's get Adam Sandler back to do a few sketches about how good the original was. It's so negligent. Nothing irks me more than a legacy character misrepresented by the same actor. Ben Stiller's character is a completely different vibe to his cameo role in the first film. How does he not know that? Not vibe, maybe not the right word. Just accent. He's completely different accent. Even I can do a better impression of Ben Stiller's character in the first film than Ben Stiller can. Also, I know Adam Sandler is Adam Sandler, but Adam Sandler is just playing Adam Sandler now. I don't even feel like he was playing Happy Gilmore. If you go back to that first film and then watch this second film, you would be amazed at actually how not Happy Gilmore-y Adam Sandler can play Happy Gilmore now. I'm just like, have we all forgotten what these characters even were? The first act is bad but passable. The final act is atrocious. It's this Mr. Bean. It's this Mr. Beast AI generated fucking slop, right? If you remember at the end of Happy Gilmore 1, it gets silly because Happy Gilmore wins by like putting a golf ball like on a broken fucking roller coaster or whatever, right? Or a broken like a crazy putt thing, and it goes ding 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 ding, comes down, goes into the hole, whatever, right? So it's silly. I'm not saying it's fucking realistic golf. But the end of this Happy Gilmore 2 is like, it's almost entirely on green screen where like bombing drives 1,000 fucking yards with like people taking ribs out to hit drives further. And like we've got an undulating green that's on like a hinge. And like, it's like all this like game show, like purple fiery lettering, like ding, 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 ding. It made me feel fucking sick. Not an ounce, not a speck of the original spirit in sight. The original was silly, fun, in a grounded way. We go back to my criticism of Superman. I don't want Superman to be super in a super world, because then what's super about that, right? Within reason, like there's so many caveats to that, I can't be asked to go into it. We'll come on to that later. Happy Gilmore, there needs to be silliness grounded in reality. Comedy is all about the contrast, right? Comedy doesn't mean everything's fucked. Comedy means it's the juxtaposition between the normality and the hilarity. But and that's what Happy Gilmore is. But Happy Gilmore, like Chubbs Peterson with his wooden hand, and the way that they end with the pinball shot to win the tournament, and like the big giant who has the golf ball on his foot and stuff. These are all ridiculous things, but they're in a reality that you can believe. Like the world is constructed in a reality that makes sense in the world of the film. Happy Gilmore 2 doesn't make sense in the world of Happy Gilmore or in any world. It's not even if it was a standalone film, it doesn't make sense. The turn your brain off argument is an insult to the original. The classic 90s comedies are not as dumb as you think. It's people look back and this whole thing of like, oh, well, all comedy's supposed to do is make you laugh, and like, why you just switch your brain off, like stop being so chin strokey about comedy. I'm fucking not. Go back and watch the silliest comedies ever made, right? Not even the silliest. Just go back and watch some classic comedies. Happy Gilmore, Anchorman, Life of Brian, Airplane. These comedies are precise silliness. They're precision engineered silliness. It's not just silly slop. You're confusing the two. Comedy is not nothing matters. Comedy is everything matters. Comedy is precision, right? And you watch something and you think, that's fucking silly, that's why I'm laughing. No, you're laughing because they engineered the silliness correctly, right? This Happy Gilmore 2 is boundless stupidity. It's completely different. Go back and watch the classic comedies. They are precision engineered silliness. So that critique the critique of Switch Your Brain Off wrongly assumes I was entertained and rejected the entertainment on principle. No, I was angry and bored at the same time. It's not, it's they're treating it like a victory lap for the original. Get all the characters back, get the best bits back. Let's run it back, right? It's not a victory lap for the original because it's not true to the original. It's almost a different genre. It's an insult to the original. It's barely even a movie. If this was a standalone movie, people would be calling it the biggest, weirdest bomb of Adam Sandler's Netflix career. They'd be like, "What the fuck even is this? This character has no heart. This world has no soul. This is sickening. This is nauseating, diabolical corporate slop. This is fucking awful." And my final note is, it's okay. This is an important point. It's okay to enjoy any film that you want, right? And it's also okay to fucking hate it. So let me fucking hate this film and let me tell you why. And because I'm sick of reading these fucking, from both sides, from this and Superman. I'm sick of reading people being like, well, you didn't like this because you're a boring robot, right? No. I didn't like it because I thought it was bad. I might be wrong. I'm not, but I might be, right? I didn't like Superman for this, and that reason. Well, that means you're a fucking, like, woke. I've been getting all sorts of hate. I'll tell you at the end. No. I just didn't like it. But that doesn't mean you can't like it. What is with the toxicity in film discourse? Like, I know I'm ranting right now. I know you might think I'm contributing to toxicity. This is for comedic effect, right? I'm ranting in a room on my own to an audience of complicit or to an audience of participating listeners, right? And if you don't want to listen, you can switch off. Commenting and like being toxic about someone else's opinion, specifically someone else's, is just out of this world to me. Happy Gilmore 2 fucking sucks. I'm glad you enjoyed it if you did, right? Oh my God, I'm so happy that's over. Take me to my happy place, not watching this film. That's what I put on Letterboxd. 0.5 star. Still not as bad as Megalopolis. Right, let's get on to the good stuff. I saw Weapons last night. Weapons is the new Zach Cregger movie. Zach Cregger, who directed Barbarian in 2021, I believe. Barbarian, one of the best contemporary horror films, and came out at a similar time to Talk to Me, and now the Raka Raka brothers have followed up Talk to Me with Bring Her Back, which I saw a couple of weeks ago. I gave that 4.5 stars. It was my favourite film of the year so far. Well, folks, ladies and gentlemen, we have even bettered that, right? For what it's worth, I thought Talk to Me was a superior film to Barbarian. I love both. For what it's worth, I think Weapons is a superior film to Bring Her Back. I love both. Now let's get into it. Do not listen to this review if you haven't seen this film. Do not watch the trailer if you haven't seen this film. Go and see this film. Go and see it completely cold. Go and enjoy yourself. We are witnessing in the release of this film a contemporary horror classic, and I'm going to try and explain why I feel that way. I truly believe this is in the pantheon of contemporary horror. I really believe you should go see this. If you don't like horror, it is very scary and is very gory. Maybe give it a miss. If you do, even a little part of you like horror, do not listen to this review and go see it. Similar to Barbarian, this is, do you know what? Let me give you a little rundown of this. So it's a horror movie about how 17 kids left the house at 2:17 a.m. and went missing, and no one knows where they went. And the school teacher of that class of children is played by Julia Garner, who you might know from Ozark. And one of the dads of the missing kids is played by Josh Brolin, who you might know from fucking some of the greatest films ever made. And then the police officer is played by Alden Ehrenreich, who you might know from Solo. He played Han Solo, the younger version, not as well as Harrison Ford. So that's all I'm going to tell you about the story. However, do not listen to this review if you don't want spoilers. Full stop. Right. In Barbarian, Zach Cregger showed us that he was a master of narrative and tonal shifts. If you haven't seen Barbarian, I'm about to spoil this for you too. Go watch it. The shift that happens at the end of Act 1 of Barbarian is one of the funniest breaks in a movie. One of the funniest shifts in a movie that I think I've ever seen. And I say one of the funniest as if this happens a lot. This really doesn't happen a lot. This was such a unique way of constructing a movie. And I just thought, wow, we're watching someone really exciting here. And there obviously wasn't much budget to that movie. It was a very contained story and it smashed it out the park. Really, really good fun, right? This movie has the qualities of Barbarian on steroids. And I don't mean that in a kind of blown out, baggy, bloated way. No. This movie is a demonstration of why Zach Cregger is, along with the Raka Raka brothers, the most promising and exciting horror directors in a long, long time. And I would even put Zach Cregger above those guys. Like, this is a truly masterful movie. The narrative and tonal shifts in this movie and the way that the story escalates and builds throughout those narrative shifts is just fucking perfection. So we have a kind of Tarantino-esque like chapter structure, or you could even say a Nolan-esque, where we have title cards of each character name and we follow them on a concurrent timeline. So we kind of watch the same period of time again and again and again from these different perspectives. But it's not shouting about it. It's not like Rashomon, you know? It's not like the whole construct of the movie is the movie. No. That's just a conduit for a story, and it is told in the correct way. You know how sometimes like time shifts and time jumps and interlocking narratives can feel gratuitous in some way. They can feel like, oh, that you're just doing this to be clever. This was the right way to tell this story. That's why it's so masterfully done. And the way that each chapter escalates, I think we've got 6 chapters in total. The way that each chapter escalates, builds. We have mini crescendos, and then we have a crescendo, and then we bump break to a new character. It's such a satisfying construction to a horror movie. And like I say, it's that shift that we had in Barbarian almost 6 times, right? And that's a good thing. It's like, it's such it's a roller coaster ride, but you feel like you're strapped in and you feel like you're just in such good hands the whole way. So there are certain aspects of this that about 30 minutes in, I was like, wow, this is like if Paul Thomas Anderson directed a horror movie. There's a few reasons for that. It's quite reflective of Magnolia. There is a central kind of policeman character, this time played by Alden Ehrenreich, but Magnolia played by John C. Reilly. There is quite a few kind of like long, quite beautiful like tracking shots, often action-based, like similar to how we would have in like when Joaquin Phoenix is running across the field in The Master, that kind of tracking shot. We have a tracking shot of one character running down an alleyway being chased by a cop car. We have that from both perspectives. We have the interlocking narratives, like I said, so similar to Magnolia, similar to, like I say, a Tarantino, like a Pulp Fiction or something. We have like characters crossing over, but not taking over each other's narrative, and every narrative has something to say. We also have like an original score. I don't even know who it's done by, but original score that is very, very seemingly inspired by Johnny Greenwood, who's obviously scored There Will Be Blood, Phantom Thread, but I'm mainly talking about There Will Be Blood and The Master. How those scores are kind of offbeat and percussive. You have that vibe in this film, and I'd be surprised if Zach Cregger's not a fan of that movie or Paul Thomas Anderson's movies. This is all a really good thing. Back to the cinematography point, it's beautiful. It feels timeless. It's so refreshing to see a movie that feels like a movie, and I can't put it any other way than that. It feels like a movie, and it feels like it feels like a time capsule that I've just picked up, and it's just existed. It's already existed. I don't feel like I've plucked this out of 2025. I don't feel like I can. Everything feels televisual to me nowadays. It really does. That's why I mentioned it about The Naked Gun, and I was pleasantly surprised. And like, even Bring Her Back is not as cinematic as this. Like this, it feels like a movie. I'm not doing so great at explaining that, but anyway. I haven't had this feeling for a long time in the cinema. this movie made me feel nauseous, right? And it wasn't even at a point of mass hysteria. There was a point where this lead witch character was walking into a room to confront two kind of unsuspecting future victims, right? And nothing was about to happen. You know, I knew that this was just kind of more of a setup scene. The tension was rising. I felt nauseous at the thought of this character. I felt nauseous at what I thought might be coming. And I felt so uncomfortable. And the thought went through my head of, I think I might just leave the cinema just for a couple of minutes to calm down. And this is a good thing, by the way. Like, I love this feeling. This is when the horror movies really got you by the balls. Like, I haven't felt like that in a horror film maybe since I was a teenager and I was possibly too young to be watching horror films. You know what I mean? It really, really got me. And I think it got me through a cocktail of, or a tapestry of all the types of horror that you want. So you've got a little bit of the supernatural. You know, you've got this kind of witchy, culty vibe. You've got banging jump scares. You've got a couple of these jump scares in this movie are a couple of the best jump scares I think I can remember. There was one in particular where there's a character where, again, if you haven't seen this film, I don't know why you're listening to this, but there's one in particular, if you have seen this film, where a character lays back on a bed and there's a jump scare of something on the ceiling, right? That jump scare was so effective. I was like, fuck, like that people might be having fucking heart attacks to that jump scare. Like, I was really, that was another moment where I was like, I kind of want to go out of the cinema to calm down. Again, a feeling that I love. So yeah, you've got a bit of cultish supernatural, you've got jump scares, you've got drawn out tension. So you would think like, oh, you know, The Conjuring can do jump scares, but that's not it. It's got the whole box of chocolates. It's got drawn out tension that doesn't end in a jump or anything. It's just, there's a moment where a woman comes out of an open door with a knife above her head. She toddles towards a car. Julia Garner's inside the car, Julia Garner's character, and she toddles past, and then you hear her open the boot. You hear her get in. What's she going to do? What's she going to do? She just cuts a bit of Julia Garner's hair off and she leaves. That scene, that's it, right? But that is pure horror. There is so much tension in that scene. And then we've got all out gore. We've just got all out body horror gore. We've got faces being crushed in, faces being ripped apart, fucking bodies being ripped apart. We've got eyes being gouged. We've got just pure body horror, right? And then we've got just like hysteria, what I'd like to call like hysteria horror, just like pure heightened terror. So at the end of this movie, in the third act, everything kicks the fuck off, and you've got possessed people just screaming at the top of their lungs, running after their prey, screaming. The sound design is just so invasive and so oppressive of these just guttural, raucous screams. It's just horrifying to listen to consistently, and yet very funny at times. Very funny. There are moments in this third act that are laugh out loud funny. There are moments throughout that are some of the funniest moments I've had in the cinema in a long, long, long time. And that is a real art. And I know that horror is very close to comedy in a lot of ways, and I know that Bring Her Back was funny in a lot of ways too. This is equally like, the comedy is well written comedy. It's not just like relief comedy. You know, like I even mentioned this a bit in Bring Her Back. It's kind of like a, oh my god, this is so horrible, but then a kind of a moment of comic relief just allows the audience to relax. That's not what this is. This is kind of like, at times, got genuinely good comedic scenes that don't have a horror goal to them whatsoever. This is well-written comedy and well-written horror, entirely independent of each other. And it's well written because it's authentic to the characters. This is something that's on my mind a lot recently. Don't just put quips in for the sake of quips. Don't just put comedy and for the sake of comedy. Make me believe that it's coming from the character, and this truly does. And I think the heart of the comedy is Alden Ehrenreich's police officer, and we know that Alden Ehrenreich has such a strength for comedy from his performance in Hail Caesar. He carries the comedy in this film in a good way. He's so fantastic at the lightness and the dark, and the less said about that, the better. Really, I always have this anxiety that people are still listening without seeing it. What I also love about this film is there's a trend recently, which I'm not like by default against, but there is a trend recently of like every horror film has to be based in some form of grief, right? Or in some form of like massive allegory. Going back to It Follows as an allegory for like sexual health, right? Babadook is an allegory for grieving her dead husband. Bring Her Back is an allegory for grieving your dead dad. Talk to Me, grieving your dead mom. But sometimes I think horror can exist aside from that. I think it's nice to have something that feels slightly more pure, that feels like it exists in the world without subtext. I think I quite like that. And maybe there is subtext to this that I'm not seeing. But to me, that's a true kind of mystery cult horror in the tradition of like Stephen King. Like this is a suburban town where fuckery is going on. You know, it's almost like that It tradition, the movie It, right? Like where like kids are subjected to horrible things in a suburban sleepy town where nothing ever happens. But there's a mystery to it. There's a procedural element to it. There's a investigative crime element to it, and that is in the grand horror tradition of Stephen King, and I really, really respect the purity of that. So it is equally, if not more, fucked up than Bring Her Back, and the only reason I'm comparing these two, by the way, is just because I've seen them so close together. I actually think they're actually quite different films. But if we're talking about the performance of these movies, I haven't looked at the box office for Bring Her Back. But it is equally, if not more, fucked up than Bring Her Back. So will work for audiences in that way. But crucially, is funner than Bring Her Back. I think it's funnier. I think it's more expansive in its comedy. And I think it's funner in the interjections of quote-unquote fun moments in the dark scenes, which I think Bring Her Back loses that towards the end, because I'm not saying it loses it and it tries to have it. It isn't even trying by the end. It wants to be fully dark, and I respect that. This movie keeps a really strong thread of kind of lightness throughout into the final credits in a way that does not compromise the horror. And so for that reason, I wonder if this movie will do better at the box office than Bring Her Back, because I think it's more of a total horror audience experience in that regard, and also, like I say, in the regard of having the full tapestry of horror styles in one movie. I just think this is fantastic. I really think we're seeing something special with this film, and that's amazing to have seen Bring Her Back and loved it so much, and then to have seen this 2 weeks later and almost step up from that and be like, wow, no, fucking hell! Like I really Bring Her Back. I was like, wow, that's so solid. It's so fucking fun, and I can't wait to show this to people. This is like, oh, this is a treasure. This is a horror treasure, right? This is a real classic. Just a shout out, sorry, I forgot to mention more, Julia Garner. A real shout out to Julia Garner. I think she's exceptional in this film. And I think that she is kind of now, for me, leading the way in this like late 20s, early 30s female actors. I would put maybe Julia Garner, Caitlin Dever, who was recently in Last of Us, previously in Booksmart, and then Mikey Madison, obviously from Anora, who we yet to see do something else just yet. There's definitely a few more, but I would put Julia Garner at the forefront of that, especially after this and her performance as the Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four. I think she's really got the juice. I think she obviously was fantastic in Ozark, but you know sometimes you see performances like that and then the actors fritter away and you never really see them again. Julia Garner is having a patient career growth and may come to eclipse her compatriots. Is that the word? Her peers. I think she's here to stay. I really do think she's here to stay. And I think this is such a great balance of like an out and out scream queen, like just horror female lead, but then also like a character with real heavy dramatic notes, and then also a character who has to interact with comedy as well at times. And she does it with lightness and pathos, and true authenticity. You truly believe her character in the real world. She's not just a vector for the crazy fuckery that's happening. You know, she's not a horror female lead without agency. You know, I really thought she was fucking fantastic, and I was so disturbed by this movie, like I say, with the feeling nauseous and all this, that I had a really scatty journey home. I really was like, I wasn't like looking down alleyways and shit, but when you just feel like a bit like jumpy, like I just felt like aware of people on the tube. I felt like kind of in my own head, but then out of my own head. Like this film really got to me. It really got to me. And I got home and my darling wife was already asleep. And so I came into this quiet house and I was washing my hands and looking out into my like tiny fucking yard, just thinking, oh, imagine if there was someone stood there, because there's kind of moments like that in the film. Even if there wasn't, when a horror film just gets you and you start imagining like just fucked up things happening in your day to day for no fucking reason. I was thinking that, and I brushed my teeth in the dark, and like I went into my bedroom and my wife was asleep. And there's scenes in this movie in bedrooms and in beds, dream sequences and whatnot. And so even seeing my wife asleep made me feel unsettled. Like, it fucking got to me. This film fucked me up. It got in my brain like a parasite and meant that my entire journey home was fucked. And then this morning I woke up and I couldn't stop thinking about this film with more and more respect and admiration. It has not left my thoughts since I saw it. I need to see it again. I need to see it with another audience. I need to see it with friends, family. This is just so special, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited that this has happened. I'm just, sometimes you just see a film and you're like, I'm going to be talking about that film for the rest of my life, right? And you only feel like that sometimes. You only feel like that sometimes. And it's so special when it happens. And I'm so happy to be able to like share this moment, because I know I've been like a bit of a Debbie Downer for like most of the time for the last few months through Jurassic and F1 and Mission and fucking now Happy Gilmore 2 and Superman and all this. And like, I'm so happy that this has come out and I can share like my sensibilities of what I love about the films I love. It's been very timely for me to share that, and also to feel that again myself, to be like, yeah, I love film when it works for me. I feel so passionate about the experience that I have and that I had last night. So, yeah, big fan. This is another 4.5 star for me. I gave Bring Her Back the same. But this is one for me that I said last week when I rated Bring Her Back, I need to see a movie twice to give it 5 stars, unless it's exceptional. Like when I first saw There Will Be Blood, like I said, I gave that 5 stars. But I need to see a movie 2 times to give it 5 stars. I suspect that that will be happening to this movie. But for now, it's a 4.5. Just fucking exceptional stuff. Go and see it. I'm going to finish off by... I've smashed this. I think I haven't been... Yeah, I've really smashed this. I'm going to finish off by, just time-wise, I meant, by reading through some of the hate comments that I got about my Superman post. Yay! Are we ready? So this was a post that was me saying... Superman has to be super it doesn't have to be, but I really feel like, do you know what? I'll just play it. feel in my heart that like Superman has to be grounded in some semblance of a real world, but this is not that. This is a world where we have portals leading to interdimensional prisons. You get the idea. Basically, I'm complaining about Superman and whatever. The point isn't the point I was making, which I stand by, and like you can go listen to the full point in the full pod. The point is the absolute diabolical hate talk that you get in the comments if you choose to disagree with the main accepted wisdom on whether a film is good or not, or the main discourse, public discourse on a movie, especially if it's a comic book movie, apparently, which I didn't realize. Okay, these comments like, dude, shut the fuck up, you're insufferable, if you don't like comic book movies, then don't watch comic book movies. Completely disagree, right? Because I think what comic book superhero fans forget is that this is art that is consumable by anyone, right? And also, if it's going to be successful, it needs to be consumed by more than just you. Okay, so is the perspective of someone who's read the comic books and loves Superman, for example, a valid perspective on the Superman movie? Yes, right? I'm not saying you don't have a perspective. But is the perspective of someone who hasn't read the comic books, quite likes Superman, and wants to have a good time at the movies also a valid perspective? Yes, and that's me. So you can't just shout someone down for saying, have you ever read comic books? Don't fucking go see Superman if you haven't. That's a fucking ridiculous statement to make, because these movies need to work for the super fans and for the cinema fans and for just the casual moviegoers, right? Just the like mums and dads who want a night off, who don't even give a shit. You know, just like my sister went to see Superman. Like, just people like who don't give a shit. She doesn't give a shit about comic books. This has got to be rage bait. God, you're stupid. Someone was like, wait, man, are you really questioning comic book movies not being real? You're such a gobshite. Bro, no, that's absolutely not what I'm questioning. That's absolutely not what I'm questioning. Obviously, I don't go to a comic book movie expecting it to be fucking on Golden Pond. People, just people. Do you know what? I don't know if you can hear that doorbell, but this guy helping me with some construction in the house has just turned up, and that is a great time to end this episode. Thanks for joining me for Fred Asquith on Film, at Fred Asquith on Film, TikTok, Instagram. We're going to be back next week, very soon, with probably a review of the horror film Together, which has Dave Franco in it, and probably a review of The Materialists, which has been out in the US for 19 years. So I'll see you next time. Thanks very much for joining. Bye-bye.